Hey guys, and welcome to the Fish Room. I'm Rachel O'Leary and it's time for a species spotlight. I thought I would go on a bit of a departure this week and feature a dwarf cichlid. Now in this little 15-gallon I have a pair of Apistogramma Cacatuoides triple red, a lovely little South American dwarf and one of my long-time personal favorites. They're easy to breed, excellent parents, easy to feed, and just really rewarding fish to keep. Now in my fish room I like to keep things in species tanks. So these guys are set up specifically to breed and not in a fancy display. So let's take a look and I'll tell you a little more about them. In my experience, breeding Apistogramma Cacatuoides, especially the line-bred variants, is not a particularly challenging task. What I like to do is set up a small tank, generally 10 to 15 gallons, and add a pair of fish. In this case, I have added some almond leaf litter, a terracotta pot, various caves, and a few pieces of driftwood. I utilize sponge filtration, and I don't bother with any substrate or anything like that. In the wild, these guys are leaf litter spawners, and the eggs will be attached to the underside of a smooth surface. This can be leaf litter, this can be driftwood. They'll basically find any nook or cranny in order to attach their eggs. Now, Apistos are phenomenal parents, really excellent at their job. The male will go in whatever cave is chosen with the female. She'll lay the eggs, he'll fertilize them, and then generally the mom will guard the eggs through the wiggler phase and then bring them out on what I like to call a fry parade. Now she will guide them, clean them with her mouth for several days before they become food seeking. Once they begin actively seeking food, it's a really good idea to either pool the parents or pool the babies, as at this point it's not at all uncommon for the parents to eat them in order to spawn again. Now you can see the female is by that fish-shaped cave and the male is way in the back. She is very territorial when she has eggs, and we're going to take a look at the eggs now. You can see she has laid the eggs on the roof of this cave. I flipped it over so that you can see it, and they're all in a row. It's quite a few. Now this is this pair's second spawn and they're relatively young, but you can still see that is quite a lot of eggs. Apistos are excellent parents, and I fully expect all of these fry to survive. Now it'll be up to me to pool the fry when they're food seeking, as I mentioned, in order to ensure their survival. You can see as soon as I set that cave down, she went right back in there to guard them. Now, generally I would use a coconut hut or a cave that I could cover the opening of the cave with my thumb, but since these guys are in a tank with just a few high pancistrus, even this little open mouth fish cave works just fine. If you were trying to breed them in a community setting, you would definitely want to give her a cave that she can defend and nothing else can get in. The water is stained yellow, and the almond leaves have multiple purposes. They're a great spawning media, but also as they break down, they produce a great first food for the fry. Now, Apistogramma fry are not at all hard to feed. You can feed them crushed flake. This is crushed dehydrated krill, baby brine, microworms, grindleworms, infusoria, any number of small foods. Despite their tiny size, they have relatively big mouths for fry. Let's see if we can scare the male forward. There's the male. He's about a teenager. He's not nearly full grown, but he's quite pretty. Those extremely long dorsal rays and very flashy color. Now males retain their color all the time. Females only get that bright yellow coloration when they're ready to spawn. But again, as you can see, this is a very simple setup. It's not a pretty tank. You could certainly do a more controlled aquascape and breed these guys readily, but this tank is for utilitarian purposes. It's simply set up to encourage them to spawn. Now, I didn't even condition these fish with any special foods. I just used dried and some frozen, feeding the especially meaty foods at least once a week. You can see she's in full breeding dress, and they have been. This is actually their second spawn in a couple of weeks. Hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Please make sure you subscribe, and don't forget to check out my website, MsJinx.com, for my upcoming speaking engagements, my current stock list, and information on all things nano. As always, if you have any questions, suggestions, or comments, let me know below.